What's up, Bulls Nation? You found yourselves Locked On Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on today's episode, we got to break down this heartbreaking 127-120 overtime loss the Bulls suffered in Toronto on Thursday night. That's next on a fresh Locked On Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome in to Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host, Big Dave Watson. There he is, that beautiful man, at BAW, B-A-W-L Sports. You can follow us at Locked On Bulls. Also hit us up on that text to voicemail line, 331-979-1369. Lots to get to today. Bulls Raptors, OT loss, Vooch with a big game, Ayo the rookie, some tough plays down the stretch in overtime. Zach LaVine is an all-star, but he's an all-star with a bad back. Like I said, lots to get to. And end of the show, we will reveal the winner of our autographed Lonzo Ball giveaway. So stay tuned for that. Big Dave, happy Friday, my friend. How are you?
Happy Friday to you too, sir. I am sitting here looking at you, wondering why you're looking like a Todd Phillips Bull fan.
I decided to flirt with the idea of a winter stash, and then I got some gunk in my eye, so I'm wearing my glasses today. It's a whole new look for me, Dave. This is working. February in Chicago, and I don't give a crap.
oh, you know what? There you go. But people are liking the stash. I've been reading the comments on YouTube. They say you're pulling it off well. So good job, sir.
Only certain people can, so thank you.
Yeah, they're usually
guys.
An
average-looking white guy? Yeah. Have a mustache.
They're usually guys in movies who can pull off the stash Matt has. So good job, man. Proud of you.
What kind of movies are you talking about?
Well, you Todd Phillips. You tell me. I think you go watch the beginning of Old School. I think that'll answer your questions right there.
Oh Lord! All right, so we should talk about basketball. Yeah.
Sure. We could, yeah.
Man, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be a tough one for the Bulls. Just the way that Toronto's been playing.
Yeah.
The Bulls managed to beat them in a close one last week, and now you got to go to Toronto, knowing that Zach LaVine was questionable to play and has been playing through a bad back over the last few games. I sensed that the Bulls would struggle tonight, and they did, but. To me, Big Dave, you got to start here. The place where they struggled the most is surrendering 22 offensive rebounds to the Toronto Raptors.
Ooh.
22 offensive rebounds.
It's a lot. It's a lot of rebounds to give up, man. It's nothing you can really say to that. It's not like something that it can be corrected tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? It's not like something I can say, well, I know how to fix that tomorrow. Let's get to that ASAP. We know the reason why. We understand the reasons why. And that's something that will be fixed, probably in another month or two. We'll take care of that. Or maybe it's something that'll be fixed, in the trade deadline. Maybe a tourist will address it then or get a buyout, something like that. But for the foreseeable future, it's something we're going to have to struggle with. But the only way you can overcome that is by doing it as committee, because that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. You can't put it all on Vooch. You can't put it all on the big guy. And the other big guys that come into the game, they have to do their job also. Tyler Cook this is probably the worst game I've seen him have since he's been here with the Chicago Bulls. 2 points, 1 rebound, missed a bunch of layups, made a bunch of bad plays.
A ghost.
Yeah, he was bad. Like when he made that one bad play, I was like, oh, Tyler, that was bad. I just saw Tony Bradley come flying off the bench, running into the game because Billy Donovan's like, nope, not going to happen today.
And that's never what you want, is for Tony Bradley to be the guy like taking off the warm-up, being like, don't worry, guys, I got this.
It's true. And he only had 3 rebounds. He had 2 blocks that were good, but he only had 3 rebounds, and he couldn't score either. He couldn't put the ball in the basket either. So it's going to be a struggle for this team to get that. You're going to have to rely on Vooch, and you're going to have to rely on it by committee. So you're looking at Javonte Green to get in there and get some. You looking at DeRozan to do what he does. Like, he hits his average usually every game about 6 rebounds. Like, I don't think I can ask more from him, you know, from that. You know what I'm saying? And Zach will get his 5, you know, and things like that. But I guess I'm looking more at guys like Ayo to get in there, you know, and use his length a little more, you know what I'm saying, to get some offensive rebounds, not defensively. I think we got defensively covered, but offensive rebounds, those things, I think we have to do that kind of thing by committee.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about it being, you know, a team rebounding thing. Donovan has talked about that before. It can't just all be on Vooch. This is a great stat that I saw from our pal Will Gottlieb of Bulls HQ. Follow Will on Twitter if you aren't already. Had this last night. Bulls defensive rebounding percentage with Vooch on the floor is 76%. Without Vooch on the floor, it drops to 70.3. So you might be thinking like, okay, 76, 70, that's a substantial swing, but not like huge. And then Will gives you the context. For context, Pelicans and Nuggets lead the NBA in defensive rebounding percentage at 75.1. Okay. The Wolves and the Raptors are last in the NBA at 70.3. So the Bulls go from being the best defensive rebounding team in the NBA with Vooch on the floor to the worst defensive rebounding team in the NBA when Vooch is not on the floor. Vooch had 14 defensive rebounds last night, 18 total.
It's tough, man. And you saw it, you know, the Band-Aid was Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. That was the Band-Aid. It still was an issue because we didn't have Patrick Williams. You know what I'm saying?
And still Jones Jr. does a decent work on the boards when he's healthy.
Correct. Don't want to leave him out. That athleticism comes in super handy. And the man was playing center, and we were doing solid with him at center. So, yeah, that speaks to that as well. But, yeah, like it was the Band-Aid effect. You know, as soon as Patrick went down, everything was by committee after that. Now, I think all Bulls fans, because I know that all Bulls fans are looking at AK and Eversley to do something and make a trade and you know, try to correct something like this. I think that's what I'm going to do too, Matt. I'm just looking at that. You know, I'm looking to see if they're going to address it, what their plans are, because that's going to say a lot for me about where Patrick Williams is if they don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they don't make any move, for me, that means Patrick Williams is very close. You know what I'm saying? But if they do something, and I do expect them to do something as far as a buyout or something like that to get a rebounder in here, man, because listen, when you get to them playoffs, man, everybody's big. All right. The guys you're going up against are huge. Milwaukee's big. Cleveland is big. You know, the Raptors have shown they're long. You know what I'm saying? The Raptors are really, really long, man. Charlotte's not small either. It's some big teams in the Eastern Conference that you're going to have to contend with. And you're good on the offensive end. You're good grabbing those defensive boards because Vooch is stellar at it. But it's that offensive rebounding. You know, that's what you miss Caruso so much for that, right? Like coming in, getting those 50-50 balls that Stacey King talks about all the time. But yeah, without talking about it so much and overhyping it so much, yeah, we understand. We need another rebounder. We get that. And I'm just going to wait on AK and Eversley to see what we're going to do with that moving forward.
The Bulls took 90 shots on Thursday night, 43 of 90 for 47.8%. That's respectable as far as field goal efficiency. But 90 shot attempts. The Raptors, 113. The Raptors took 113 shots, 23 more than the Bulls. Hard to win a game when you let the other team take 23 more attempts at putting the ball in the basket than you do.
Yeah.
I'm no science whiz, but I think those numbers bear some significance. So
yeah, don't let the glasses fool you. He's not a science whiz. Don't let him fool you.
I don't know nothing.
There it is, right?
It's like the Tobey Maguire meme. Like, what? The Bulls should rebound.
I thought about Chris Farley when he did. Like, who's that over there? Who's that? Is that Bill Shakespeare over there?
Bill Shakespeare over there?
Shut your big yapper. But I will say the reason, and it's also what magnifies what you're saying about the rebounding, is that's honestly the reason they lost the game. Specifically,
couldn't box
at the end of the game.
Barnes.
You couldn't box Scotty Barnes, and it wasn't Vooch's fault. Vooch did the right thing. He rotated to stop the ball handler in trying to get his shot up. The all-star Van Fleet from trying to score. That makes sense, but there was no other rotation to help box out Scotty Barnes. He can't try to block the shot and do the boxing out at the same time. It's a little difficult. And you can't ask Zach LaVine, your guard, who was the close person there, you can't ask him to come box out Scotty Barnes at that time. You need another big man in there to help with that. So we'll see what they address, man.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. Clearly, all of this was Vooch's fault and no one else's.
Boy, you lucky we ain't win that game because of Vooch. Man, I was going to come in here wilding out if we won and Vooch hit that last second shot. That's why we lost. Because they knew.
Hard to score in 30 and 18. All right. We also got to talk about Zach LaVine and what exactly is going on with him. We will do that next. But first, today's episode brought to you by Bet Online, which has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as we get ready for that big game. The game. Bengals, Rams, Joey B, and Matty Stafford. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores and news this season. And yeah, that includes the Super Bowl. And it's not just football. BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live real-time updates of the current games. So don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
Yeah.
All right, Big Dave. So Zach LaVine was downgraded from probable to questionable a few hours before tip-off of this Bulls-Raptors game. Talked about how he had been dealing with and playing through some minor back spasms and a back ache. He does, in fact, get the start, plays 42 minutes.
Yeah.
But other than a couple of timely shots in the fourth quarter, which were huge, only took 10 shots on the night, which tied a season low for Zach LaVine. You could tell he was trying to pick and choose when to be that. Like, he also had a couple of dominant takes to the rack late in that game as the Bulls were trying to salvage this one. But there were large stretches where Zach was sort of playing decoy out there. Yeah, and even when he was talking after the game with the media, somebody made note, I can't remember which reporter, but somebody made note that the fact that he looked like he was in pain even just sitting there after the game. And he was like, well, yeah, that's what happens when you play 42 minutes with back spasms.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Dave. I am worried.
I understand. And you know what, man? I'm not going to quell your worry. I'm not, because
thanks. What do I have you here for, Dave?
Yeah, I know, right? What are you doing? Talk me off the ledge, damn it. Nah, take the jump. Go for it.
Come on, grow up.
But no, I think you're right to be concerned. Because of the position of the injury. Like, a back injury is something to be worried about. You know, it really is. A spasm, I'm not saying, just go crazy and freak out over something like that, but those things can linger. Those things can be an issue. And with Zach LaVine, I think we've learned over the years, and the reason I know this is because I'm like this. Like, I am definitely like this. It has to really, 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 really bother you before you say, okay, something's wrong. Yeah, count them up. It really has to be an issue. Yes. But it has to really be a problem for me to be like, okay, something's wrong. If I tell you something's wrong, something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, something is wrong. Like, there's an issue going on. Zach LaVine, I think, is exactly like that. You saw that when he went up for the shot and he came down kind of clutching his back a little bit. Billy Donovan immediately calls timeout. Like, dude, are you okay? It's like, what are you calling timeout for? I'm fine. I'm all right. Everything's okay. No, you're not. You're not okay. Something is an issue. You can't say I'm okay and then get in the game and say, well, I played 42 minings with back spasms. Of course I'm in pain. Well, yeah, that means you're not fine. This means something is wrong. You took 10 shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't the greatest person on defense previously, but you can see it taking a hit and why he was, kind of relaxing a little bit more. But he played a tough game because he's a tough dude. You know what I'm saying? Zach LaVine is a strong human being mentally and physically. So he powered through it. But it just concerns me because, again, he won't tell you if something is truly wrong. Like, something has to be truly wrong. So I hope this isn't an instance where we have to kind of save him from himself kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it is something to monitor going forward.
So, Billy said that they would look at that, much like they gave DeMar DeRozan the night off and on the second night of a back-to-back a week or so ago, when DeMar was carrying the load while Zach was out with the knee. Yeah. And now Billy's saying, that may be something we'll consider. So, we're recording this about 6 or 7 hours before tip of Bulls-Pacers Friday night, second night of back-to-back. I would not be surprised if they decide to sit Zach down in this game. You can win that game against the Pacers without Zach LaVine. It will be harder, but you can do it. And now I'm even thinking about, like, man, I really hope the Bulls hold on to this 1 seed by the All-Star break so that Billy Donovan is the coach, so that as happy as we all are that Zach made his second consecutive All-Star team, he can play 0 minutes and 33 seconds in the All-Star game. Like, truly, I mean, Zach LaVine, bubble wrap. Do we have bubble wrap? Like, again, credit to Zach for the fact that he's basically saying, yeah, I was playing through a sore knee. I remember the thumb? Remember the thumb?
Yes.
And you're like, I'm playing through that. Torn ligaments, my thumb, I'll be fine. And now he's playing through a bad back that maybe is a result of him favoring one of his knees. I mean, I don't know if those two injuries are correlated or if they're not, but either way, he is sitting here saying, we got a good squad. Yeah. We got to go out and try to win every single game. You know, obviously this is a team that's looking at the potential of home court advantage, at least in the first round of the playoffs. And guess what? Look at the Bulls' home and road splits. They are a very good team at home and less so on the road. Yeah, that matters. But so does having a healthy Zach LaVine come playoff time.
Yeah, it completely matters having Zach ready to go. And All-Star break can't come soon enough. Again, that's why I'm taking this stuff kind of game by game, because there's a lot of things that will be answered at that time for this team that I'm looking forward to. But we can only get there, you know, kind of one game at a time kind of thing. But yeah, man, like I didn't think of that point though, Zach. I think that's an excellent point, Matt, that you made about Billy Donovan being the head coach here, because I think he'll handle a little more. Like if Eric Spoelstra's, you know what I'm saying? Your head coach out there, dude. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I don't know. It might be like, Zach, you can do it. You know
it made me think of that shot they had in The Last Dance, you know, when it was MJ's final All-Star game in '98. And that was Larry Bird's first year coaching with the Pacers. And so they had the top seed at All-Star break. So Larry Bird was the coach for the East All-Stars. And MJ was there at the photo shoot like, yeah, man, like Larry's about to play me 48 minutes in this All-Star game.
Yeah, man. Like you think about that stuff. And I won't put it past the Heat to do something like I just wouldn't put it past.
Dude, Zach and DeMar are playing minutes.
I'm not putting it past them, man. But I'm excited for Zach to get that rest at that All-Star break. And I know the Bulls will be cautious because this is a very smart team going forward. So I'm sure I'm going to go with you on that, Matt. I don't think he's going to play tonight against the Pacers. I'd be a little surprised, especially the fact he said something about playing heavy minutes and having back spasms and being in pain. If you're going to say that stuff, I'm going to be like, sit down. That's just me personally. I'm be like, well, all right, fine. You're not playing then. Like, dude, I need you. Like, have a seat. We'll play the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see what happens against I will roll the dice out there against the Indiana Pacers. No disrespect, but they're full of injuries right now. And there's a team kind of turmoil is a strong word, but they're a team that, you know, is still trying to get it together. Even though they I saw them beat the Lakers, I saw them beat the Clippers in back-to-back games. But still, in fact, that still is a team that's, you know, kind of figuring things out. And I think Zach can take a rest while we do that.
And I mean, when you talk about this stretch that just started last night against Toronto, that is a stretch of 4 games in 5 nights. So the Bulls go back-to-back, day off, back-to-back, Thursday, Friday, off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, another back-to-back, and then overall 7 games in 10 nights. Like that is a lot between now and getting to that All-Star break. And how Billy Donovan and Zach LaVine come to that collective decision of, all right, how many? He just played 42 minutes in a game that went to overtime. I mean, to me, it's like it's staring you in the face. You got to sit Zach on the and you might be looking at sitting Zach on the second night of both of these back-to-backs.
That's interesting.
Hopefully, whatever this back thing is doesn't get worse. But like you were saying a minute, I mean, back injuries can be tricky, man.
Yeah, very tricky.
Not something you want to mess with.
No, you don't want to play around with a back injury, man. You just think about the things, like you mentioned, all the injuries Zach has dealt with just this year. You know what I'm saying? That he's continued to play through and be an all-star through. Think about that. Like he's playing through all that. It is an all-star who the players thought should have been starting. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been that elite. You know what I'm saying? Even dealing with what he's dealing with. Like watching a healthy Zach LaVine is one of the greatest things to watch, man. Like something is wrong when he's getting to the bucket and he's missing layups. You know what I'm saying? Like, Zach, what? You missing wide open layups? Something's up. Something is wrong. So hopefully he can do that. And also he's got to think about DeMar DeRozan as well. You know what I'm saying? He's no spring chicken, as they say. So I don't know how many back-to-backs he can play like that. But I think they can beat these Pacers, without that. Even though the Pacers, I'm sure, are looking for that revenge because of how DeMar took them out last time. But, I think that we can be competitive and hang with the Pacers even without Zach.
For the record, DeMar 45 minutes against Toronto on Thursday.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we gotta figure that out. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's okay. It's okay. Here comes Tony Bradley off the bench. We're gonna
just get ready for Malcolm Hill and Alfonso McKinney, Bulls fans. It's gonna happen. You're gonna see these guys. I hope they're ready to play, man, because we're gonna need them. Honestly, we're gonna need them. We're gonna need them.
Can Lonzo and Caruso play in casts? My God.
Caruso.
All right. We also wanted to touch on the rook Ayo Dosunmu, who had kind of a tough night in Toronto on Thursday. We will get to that next. But first, Big Dave, tell the people about the Built Bars.
Oh, you know what? Whether your knee is hurting, your wrist is hurting, or your back is hurting, I know one thing that won't be hurting, and that's your taste buds, because you're going to go get you some Built Bars, and you're going to be all right. And they'll feel good for you because they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And they contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 70 grams of protein, y'all. That's more than your traditional candy bar. That's got like 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. You don't need that, but what you need is some flavors. You want coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie, whatever you want, they got it. And they also got those flavors of the month. Matt Peck with the Porn Stash. Can you please tell them what it is, sir?
Well, now I don't want to. Just kidding. It's delicious. White chocolate cookies and cream. That's actually my porn character's name.
Yes, I'm glad Matt's in my brain because I literally was thinking that. Go to Built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15. Get 15% off of your order. That is LOCKed15 for 15% off your order at Built.com. Built Bar. Matt Peck Porn Stash approved. Get you some.
Maybe not the best way to sell Built Bars. All right. Ayo Dosunmu, been singing his praises, came in and has taken this starting role after, spot minutes on the bench throughout the first part of the season with no Lonzo, no Caruso. He's been playing really well. Earlier this week, named to the Rising Stars roster from the rookie class. Every night it seems that he shows us just how thankful Bulls fans should be that they stole this kid in the second round of the NBA draft. Tough night for Ayo in that down the stretch of this game, a couple of critical turnovers, and then there was that one key defensive breakdown for the Bulls that allowed Gary Trent Jr. to get wide open for that three that turned out to be the dagger to push the Raptors lead up to 5. If you haven't seen it yet, Steph No, who does an amazing job covering the Bulls in the NBA, broke this down with a couple of video breakdowns on Twitter. Go watch him do it. Toronto ran a stack play that they run a lot. Nick Nurse called it out from the sideline, didn't even use a timeout. But essentially, in that play, Zach LaVine thought that there was going to be a switch and that Ayo was going to hand off Fred VanVleet to Zach LaVine. No, Ayo thought, I'm going to fight through this screen and I'm going to stick. So nobody switched onto Gary Trent Jr., who was able to leak out and was left wide open, and all the Bulls could do was kind of look over there and go, oh, crap. So a defensive breakdown, not that it was Ayo's fault, but just as Zach said, and as Billy Donovan and Vooch, they all said, just miscommunication breakdown. Which point of attack defense and communication breakdown, parentheses, comeback Alex Caruso.
When I saw that play, here's 2 things that stood out to me. One, watching Nick Nurse orchestrate that was awesome to watch. Honestly, watch him orchestrate that from the sideline. It was beautiful just to watch a great coach, run a really excellent play. The other thing was, I thought Zach is the person that should have stayed, because Ayo has shown, at least what we've seen, to always fight over screens, to always stick with his man. He's shown to always be that person to do that. Again, I'm not on the court. I don't play. I don't know. Maybe I could be completely wrong about all this. But that's what I think, when I saw that, is Ayo is going to stick with Fred VanVleet. He's always done. He really rarely takes the switch unless it's communicated. And of course, that's what they said. Miscommunication. Nobody talked. Because if you see it, Matt, if you watch that play, you see Vooch immediately point to Gary Trent Jr. Like, guys, the man right there. That's the one who's got to get him. Intelligently, when they saw he was that wide open, Siakam, if you watch Siakam in the corner with Javonte Green, he immediately takes Javonte Green to the post to kind of stop him from even wanting to go over, even thinking about going over and doing something to Gary Trent Jr. He took him to the post. What a brilliant decision. It was just beautifully run play. It sucked that it had to be against my team, but it was really a beautiful basketball play that they ran out there. But yeah, Ayo, Matt, I mean, it's hard for me to find fault. But, you have to state the fact, about what it was. He did have, 2 turnovers, I think, or three turnovers. But it was just, one really crucial one.
2 of them were in critical moments.
Yeah, 2 were in critical moments. It was another 2 that he didn't make, that DeMar DeRozan made, that were passes to Ayo early on, but where they just kind of weren't on the same page, which is rare because you rarely see those 2 not on the same page. DeMar tried to give him a nice behind the back one when he thought Ayo was cutting to the elbow. And both times, Matt, they were both passes to the elbow. Both times. They were both passes to the elbow and Ayo wasn't there, or there was just guys miscommunicated on that. So yeah, you're going to see flashes of him as a rookie sometimes. That's going to happen. But those aren't drastic in my head. They aren't. I'm just like, dang, he missed that one. Oh, that's a bad play. It wasn't like, what is he doing? It wasn't like, oh my God. Oh God, the luster's off. Get him out of there. We need some new guys. He still had a great game to me, Matt. 42 minutes. He still had 8 assists, scored 11 points. He didn't have a great game shooting. And I think that's why it was magnified. Those turnovers that he did, because he was 1 of 5 from 3, missed some of those wide open baseline threes that he's been doing a great job of hitting. But yeah, overall, he's solid. It was a solid game, but he just made bad plays within it. His rookie thing kind of showed, and he'll get better.
And not just a couple of missed threes, but the other Ayo moment in that game that frustrated me a little bit was also late in the game when it looked like on a swing pass. I can't remember if it was a swing pass or a kick out from Vooch, but he had a wide open look on the left elbow from behind 3-point line and thought about it. And then instead decided to put the ball on the floor and step through. The Bulls on that possession came up empty. And I thought, man, for as well as this kid is shooting the ball, especially in catch and shoot scenarios, like Ayo's catch and shoot numbers are outrageously effective.
Yeah.
And that there was a moment where you thought this is going to be another huge shot from our rookie. He did it the other night. As the Bulls were pulling away against Orlando, he made a big shot like that. You thought that was going to be one of those Ayo shots, and you're like, he had such a clean look. Why didn't he take it? So, again, I think Billy Donovan referred to it after the game as growing pains. You're going to still get some of these moments from Ayo where he's a rookie. He's learning on the fly. He's learning to swim after having been thrown into the depths of the ocean. And look, going back to that last defensive breakdown, you're right in that we have been seeing Ayo fight over screens and through screens all season long. It's one of the things that he has garnered the most praise for, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
I wonder if Zach LaVine wanted that switch on that play and thought they were going to switch, because taking over a Fred VanVleet who was coming around the screen and Zach bodying a smaller Fred VanVleet, or even maybe just contesting a shot from him, is something that Zach thought would be easier than going all the way to the other side of the floor to keep tabs on Gary Trent Jr. Because of that bad back and the fact that he had been, at that point, played 41 minutes on that bad back.
Yeah. And again, that comes with communication, and it also comes with being in the league for a while and recognizing stuff like that, which is, Ayo hasn't been in for a long time. It's his first year. You know what I mean? He's not going to recognize, Zach's got a back issue. Maybe he should take this right here, and I should run over here. It'd be easier for him. That's stuff that'll come as he continues to play. as he continues to figure this out, man. And I have no doubt he'll figure those things out. Like he'll understand that. Like it feels like Lonzo would have known that. You know what I'm saying? Like Lonzo would have been like, okay, I know this dude got a back if something's going on. He's got him. This is a little easier for him. And that's a great point you made, because it's much easier to go with that than go against it. You know what I'm saying? To get back and run and jump and do all that. No, he can use his body on a smaller guard. You know what I'm saying? Than he could more so against Gary Trent Jr. No, that's a really good point.
That's kind of how I read it. Like Zach being like, okay, I'm exhausted. I played 41 minutes. My back's bothering me. Doing this to Fred VanVleet is a lot easier than running all the way over there to try to contest and close out on Gary Trent Jr. So, you know, again, the fault of how that communication and breakdown happened, it lies on all of them that were on the floor there. But just that was one of a few plays in a close game late where Ayo was not his usual superb self. And so now Bulls fans are kind of like, well, wait, we got used to this rookie who never makes mistakes and is amazing in all of the clutch moments. So it feels like a letdown when he has moments that every rookie is allowed to have, Dave.
Yes. Oh, I love how you said that. That is so correct. We've seen him be so good that we've removed the cushion that you usually provide for somebody coming in their first year. That's a great way to put it. And not even just somebody in their first year. That cushion usually isn't there for somebody who's like a top 3 or 5 draft pick, right? That cushion is removed because of where you've been drafted at. Second rounders, 38 picks, all the cushions in the world, you cushion stacked this high. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about it. But his play removed that. You're absolutely right, Matt. His play removed that kind of cushion. And so guys are looking at it like, wait a minute, how come you just don't be great like you've been doing? You know, like, yeah, because he's a rookie. So you're right. Fans have to remember that. We have to remember that, you know what I'm saying, when we're looking at and we're evaluating him. And I'm glad he's around the right coach to understand that. Because like you just said, Billy Donovan just chalked it up to growing pains, saying, man, he'll figure that out. Yeah, he'll figure that out. He'll be all right with that as we move forward. But yeah, that's an excellent point right there.
It's a tough way to see the Bulls lose a game like that. But like you said, I am not concerned long term about a couple of Ayo mistakes in a game that they end up losing. It'll happen. The more pressing matters are, can the Bulls get a freaking defensive rebound? Anyone other than Vooch? And please, Zach LaVine, I hope your back is okay. Those are the two primary concerns for this Bulls team right now as they get ready to face the Pacers on Friday night. That's it for us for the week. But before we get out of here, congratulations and a shout out to Mario and Lupe Ortiz. You are the winners of the Lonzo Ball autograph giveaway. So apparently Mario said that his wife Lupe was a big fan of Bulls Outsiders back in the day, Big Dave, and introduced Mario to us and that show. And then ever since, they have been, following us along here on Locked On Bulls. So shout out to Mario and Lupe. Hope you enjoy the Lonzo prize. I'll send it to you this weekend. Should be in your fingers within a matter of days.
You know he's an intelligent, smart man because of one reason and one reason only. He listens to his wife. He understood the greatness because his wife saw it and said she's right and followed us on, man. Brilliant job. But thank you, Lupe. Thank you very much.
Clearly a very smart individual. And I've heard that too, brilliant. Dave. Happy wife, happy life. That's
the rule, brother.
Or don't marry, also happy life, at least for me so far.
You gotta get a rhyme for that.
A lot easier to have a happy life when the Bulls are your wife instead of an actual I mean, I do have a work life spouse. He's right over here.
Yeah. I cheat on him sometimes, but Buck always come back. Open relationship.
Open relationship. We have an open relationship. We have an understanding. Anyway, congrats to Mario and Lupe, and thank you to everybody who entered. There can only be one winner, but in our hearts, you're all winners. And we appreciate you listening to this show. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will be back on Monday with a fresh dose of episodes, breaking down what happened with the Bulls over the weekend as we get closer and closer to that February 10th trade deadline.
On the way.
I'm Matt. See Red be good. Joakim, shout out Cleveland.
See?